Hey, it's Tom
and Mike
from Take Time to Travel.
During our 100 days living in Mexico City, we fell in love with La Ciudad de Mexico. From its friendly people, to its delicious food, and its energetic yet laid-back atmosphere. There's so much to love about this mega city.
But for new visitors, where do you start in a city so big? We'll answer that in this video, where we put together your Mexico City itinerary to show you the best neighborhoods to stay, the top attractions, incredible excursions, and of course, where to find mouth-watering, authentic Mexican cuisine.
Let's begin with the big question, where to stay. There are 4 main areas that we'd recommend: Roma Norte, La Condesa, Polanco, and the Centro Histórico.
Roma Norte is a lively and trendy bohemian neighborhood filled with lush tree-lined streets, beautiful old Spanish colonial architecture, as well as museums and art galleries, independent shops and stylish boutiques, nightlife at bars and clubs, and of course, lots of delicious eateries and sidewalk cafes.
Some of our favorites are El Compita Birria de Res, a Tijuana-style street food cart. We love the Compita Especial and the Volcan, but their specialties are the incredible beef birria and quesabirria tacos. Make sure to try all 4 with a cup of consommé soup for dipping. Taqueria Orinoco is another great option for tacos. We'd recommend the trompo, marinated pork, chicharrón, and res or beef tacos. Or you can ball out and get the costra tacos with fried cheese.
If you're starving and want enough food for 2 days, then check out Carnitas El Chulo for their massive gordita. It's kind of like a quesadilla made with masa and chicharrón dough and loaded with tender pork, fried cheese, chopped onions, lots of cilantro, and then finished with whatever kind of salsa you want. We ended up deciding on the guacamole salsa. One order was so big it completely filled 2 large plates.
Madre Cafe is also worth a visit. This trendy cafe is located inside an old colonial mansion and has a beautiful terrace. The food was tasty, but the pancakes were especially fluffy and delicious. Roma Norte is the perfect area to stay for your first or 100th time in Mexico City. However, the only downside is that it's kind of pricey.
Right beside Roma Norte is the next neighborhood we'd recommend to stay, called La Condesa. In addition to the charming sidewalk restaurants and cafes, it's also very green and leafy, with lush and relaxing parks like Parque España and Parque Mexico, where you can find the locals and tourists alike taking salsa classes underneath the gorgeous flower-covered pergolas.
Surrounding Parque Mexico is another wonderful green space called the Avenida Amsterdam. It's a charming tree-lined street with an attractive center pedestrian walkway down the middle. Fun fact, the oval-shaped street follows a former horse track that belonged to the Countess of Miravalle. On the other side of La Condesa, there's Bosque de Chapultepec, or Chapultepec Park. Spanning over 2,000 acres, this urban park is huge. It's an urban oasis with forests, water features, tons of street vendors along the main walkway, and even an 18th century castle called Chapultepec Castle. It's one of only 2 palaces in North America that was inhabited by royalty.
La Condesa, just like the rest of Mexico City, also has some amazing food options. Some of our recommendations include Tacos Don Juan, a local favorite for more than 40 years. Don't miss the ribeye costra de queso, which is made with a cheese crust instead of a tortilla. The quesabirria tacos with fried cheese and shredded beef were a close second though. These are so good, you'll want to get some of each. Another local hotspot is La Esquina del Chilaquil. They're known for the chilaquiles torta, stuffed with chilaquiles, chicken milanesa, cheese, and crema. It's not pretty, but it's cheap and tastes amazing.
If you're looking for a more upscale option, there's La Capital. Every dish that we tried here tasted incredible, had an Instagram-worthy presentation, and was very reasonably priced considering the quality. La Condesa is a fantastic option to stay in Mexico City, but again, the only drawback is that it can be expensive for hotels and apartments.
Now I know this is a lot of information to remember, so we put together an easy-to-use travel itinerary on mapper.com. It's a useful online platform where local experts and creators like us share our curated lists from destinations around the world. Right now, we have 60 recommendations in Mexico City for food, attractions, excursions, and more that you can explore to make it easier for planning your next trip to Mexico City. We've put a link to our Mexico City map in the description section down below. Make sure to check it out and follow us. And if you want, you can even support us by becoming a premium member on Mapper.
Next, we'll head over to the bougie neighborhood of Polanco, the Beverly Hills of Mexico City. This upscale area is filled with lots of high-end shops and boutiques, like Xenia, Hermes, and Rolex, especially along the main promenade called Avenida Presidente Masaryk, and in El Palacio de Hierro Polanco, a mall-sized department store with all of the designer brands. Polanco also has lots of amazing restaurants, with everything from welcoming sidewalk cafes to fine dining. A couple of our favorite eateries are Churreria El Moro, probably the most popular place to get churros in Mexico City. El Moro has multiple locations around the city, but we really enjoyed this one in Polanco. Campomar Masaryk is another local favorite for its fresh seafood with surprisingly large portions served in a stylish setting. Combine it all with reasonable prices and you have a winning combination.
In addition to high-end shopping and world-class restaurants, Polanco also has nearby museums and art galleries like the Museo Sumaya, a free-to-enter museum situated in this futuristic-looking building built by the Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim. Included among the collection are sculptures from pre-Hispanic Mesoamerica, 19th and 20th century Mexican art, and works by European masters like Rodin and Salvador Dali. There's also the Museo Nacional de Antropología, the largest and most visited museum in Mexico, containing an extensive collection of significant archaeological artifacts from Mexico's pre-Columbian heritage.
Right beside the museum is Avenida Paseo de la Reforma, the principal avenue in Mexico City. Along its length, you'll find everything from street food to shopping centers, big bank towers, and five-star hotels like the Ritz-Carlton, where there's an Asian-inspired restaurant on the 56th floor called Ling Ling by Hakkasan. It's a perfect place for a special occasion or a memorable meal. The service was top-notch, the atmosphere was amazing, and every dish that we ordered had a fantastic presentation and tasted just as good as it looked. There's even an open-air terrace where you can get some phenomenal views of the city all lit up at night.
Another fun fact, on Sundays, Reforma is closed down to vehicles and becomes a pedestrian walking, biking, and rollerblading street. It's a small part of the 55 kilometers of streets that are closed to traffic around Mexico City for the Muévete en Bici initiative to encourage a more healthy lifestyle. Continuing along Paseo de la Reforma, on our way to the Centro Historical neighborhood, we'll make a couple of quick stops, one of which is the Angel of Independence, a victory column built in 1910 to commemorate the centennial of the start of Mexico's War of Independence.
It's possibly the most recognizable landmark in the city, and a couple of streets east of there is Calle Genova. This vibrant pedestrian walking street in the heart of Zona Rosa, Mexico City's gay neighborhood, is lined with bars, nightclubs, eateries, and street vendors. So it's best to come here at night when the atmosphere is electric.
If you keep going east along Reforma, you'll arrive in the Centro Historical, the bustling heart of Mexico City. From local markets and street vendors to historic buildings, pedestrian walking streets, and affordable shopping, the Centro Historico should be a stop on everyone's trip to Mexico City. Definitely don't miss the impressive Palacio de Bellas Artes, a prominent cultural and performing arts center. For the best views, make sure to head across the street to the Sears building and make your way up to the 8th floor cafe called Finca Don Porfirio, which has an absolutely stunning bird's eye perspective.
Nearby, you'll find Avenida Francisco Madero, a bustling pedestrian walking street lined with shops, restaurants, and historic architecture like the Palacio de Iturbide. At the end of the street is Plaza de la Constitucion, or El Zócalo, Mexico City's main square surrounded by culturally significant buildings. If you happen to come to Mexico City around Christmas time, the square is transformed into a winter wonderland, complete with artificial snow.
Also in Centro, there's La Merced Market, the largest traditional retail market in Mexico City, with everything from fresh produce, as well as shoes and clothing, to tons of different vendors selling mouth-watering street food. The historic center is the most affordable location on our list to stay in Mexico City, but it can be loud, hectic, and not quite as safe as the other locations we mentioned, so make sure to watch out for petty crime and pickpockets here.
Next, we'll show you some of Mexico City's must-visit attractions, like Chinatown, which is right next to Centro, and great for some food and photos. There's also Coyoacan, the oldest neighborhood in the city. Its green and leafy cobblestone streets are lined with brightly painted colonial architecture, with a bohemian kind of vibe. There's museums like the Frida Kahlo Museum inside the former home of the famous Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. There's also quaint parks like Plaza Coyoacan and Plaza Jardín Hidalgo, where you might see a traditional concheros dance with the performers dressed in colorful outfits and headdresses made of ostrich feathers.
Jardín del Arte Allende is also worth a visit on the weekends for its art market featuring local artisans. Right next to it is the Coyoacan Market. It's a colorful and bustling jam-packed market filled with vendors selling everything from knickknacks, souvenirs, and piñatas to fresh produce and delicious Mexican eats. South of Coyoacan are the Xochimilco trajineras. They're kind of like Venetian gondolas, except larger and full of color. Here you can take a fun ride through the canals alongside mariachi bands and floating vendors selling foods, drinks, snacks, and souvenirs.
Another amazing adventure is to the Teotihuacan Pyramids, an archaeological site with impressive Mesoamerican pyramids dating back approximately 2,000 years. Another great perspective is taking a sunrise hot air balloon ride over top of the ancient Teotihuacan Pyramids. It was one of the most memorable experiences of my entire life. Seeing the pyramids from above was breathtaking. I'd highly recommend this experience if you aren't afraid of heights. Nearby, Teotihuacan also has some cool cave restaurants like La Cueva and La Gruta, which are also worth checking out for the unique atmosphere. Again, you can go to our map on mapper.com to find all of these attractions and restaurants, as well as some gems not mentioned in this video, like where to find the only Michelin star taqueria in the world. Please like and subscribe, and remember, take time to travel. Catch you on the next one.